In this last video, we will learn about some advanced Excel functions in the financial, logical, and lookup categories. The financial category includes functions that determine loan payments, the amount of interest earned, the rate of return on an investment, and more. Most of the functions in the logical category display true or false as the result, but the if function is also in this group. An if function can test if monthly revenue is above or below average and display yes or no in the cell. The lookup and reference categories are used to find and display information from a list in the workbook. For example, you might use a lookup function to insert a price from a price list. The payment function calculates a constant loan payment amount, assuming regular payments and a constant interest rate. The payment function includes the following argument as seen on this slide. Rate is the interest rate, which is a percentage of the amount borrowed. Most rates are set at a yearly or annual rate. To determine monthly payments, you must divide the rate by 12. NPER is the number of periods for repayment. If you make monthly payments for 5 years, the number of periods argument would be 60. PV is the present value, which is equal to the amount that is borrowed. FV is the future value after the last payment is made, which would be an amount still owed at the end of the loan. When the future value argument is omitted, it means 0, or that you have paid back the entire amount. Type indicates if payments are made at the beginning or the end of the period. The number 1 is used to set payment at the beginning of the period. 0, or if it's omitted, is used to set payment at the end of the period. The payment result is always shown as a negative number because the function is calculated from the borrower's point of view. This would be money to be paid out. The if function tests a condition or statement. If it is true, a specified result will display in the cell. If the test is false, an alternative result will display in the cell. The if function uses the syntax as shown on this slide. The logical test is the value or statement to be evaluated. The value if true is the result to be displayed in the cell when the logical test is true. You can select a cell, enter text, or use a formula for this argument. The value if false is the result displayed in the cell when the logical test is false. You can select a cell, enter text, or use formula for this argument as well. A lookup function displays a piece of data from a range of cells in another part of the workbook. There are 2 lookup functions, VLOOKUP, which is vertical, and HLOOKUP, which is horizontal. These 2 functions have the same syntax and very similar arguments. VLOOKUP uses a lookup table that is organized in columns, and HLOOKUP uses a lookup range that is arranged in rows. The lookup value is the data to be found or matched. It is usually a cell address, but you can type a value or a text string. The function locates this lookup value in the first column of the table array. It then displays the data from the designated column in the same row as the lookup value. The table array is a range of cells assorted in ascending order by the first column. The range can be located on a different worksheet or in an entirely different workbook. It is good practice to name the range so that its reference is absolute. The col underscore index underscore num sets which column in the table array contains the data to display in the result. This means column index number. The columns are counted from the left to the right. The range lookup argument is optional and it is often omitted. This argument is either true or false. True means that Excel finds the closest match in the lookup value, which can return unexpected results. If the data in the table array is sorted, true will generally return the correct match. When you set this argument to false, Excel finds an exact match and the data can be in any order. The HLOOKUP function has a row index number argument instead of the column index number argument. The table array is set up horizontally and the first row is arranged in alphabetical order from left to right. Excel includes many additional math and trigonometry functions, including round, sum if, and sum product. These functions can be found in the Math and Trig button located on the Formulas tab in the Function Library group. The round function rounds a value to a specified number of digits. The number is the cell or the value to be adjusted. The number of digits sets the number of decimal places for the rounding. When this argument is 0, the value is displayed at its nearest whole number. When the number of digits argument is greater than 0, the value is rounded to that number of decimal places. You can use a negative number for the number of digits argument, which rounds the value to the left of the decimal point. Make sure you understand the results when you round to the left of the decimal point. The sum if function controls which data in a range is included in the total. It allows you to eliminate cells from the calculation by a criteria that you set. The range would be the range of cells to be evaluated or searched, the values that are compared to the criteria. The criteria are the restrictions, conditions, or rules that must be met. The sum range is the cell range to be added. The sum product function calculates the sum of the product of several ranges. It multiplies the cells identified in its array arguments, and then it totals those individual products. The array1 argument is the first range of cells for the multiplication. The array2 argument is the range that is multiplied by the corresponding cells in the array1 range. These two ranges must have the exact same number of cells, the same dimension. This brings us to the end of Chapter 2. Thank you for watching my lecture videos.